Connections Studio Suites. It's Connections. Connections is relationship radio.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Wait, no. See, when you do a weed show, you have to start out with someone coughing and maybe a little sound of a bubbler. You know, but the bong hits the swats. They call them flower bases when you go to try to shop in a head shop. But yes, we're talking about weed. Did you catch that? Welcome. It's Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA, iHeartRadio. Melissa Foxx, 2 X's, Lizzie said what, all vowels and a hashtag in front. And Dr. David Klein, 5 board certifications. Don't trip on his certifications on your way out the door.
Oh, there you go. It gets me excited, too, sometimes.
What? Yeah. He's representing Stages of Life Medical Institute. Please support our sponsors by checking them out. SufferNoMore.com. Instead of just treating the damn symptoms, find out what the hell is wrong with
no
you.
Kidding. You know, you would think that'd be pretty basic, isn't it?
It's basic.
Let's do a little diagnostics. How about let's figure out what's wrong before we start throwing things at you and seeing what sticks?
Yeah, we had job number 1. I have a program with retirees, and they were talking about they're taking medication for this and that, and I said, you don't understand. I said, you need to go see Dr. Dave. He's in Longwood. He's not that far away. You need to call his office. And so they were writing it down. So I hope that somebody's called you, because I'm like, they're just taking medication after medication medication.
That's not what it's all about.
No, it's not. It's not.
If you've got an issue, you need to figure out why. It's like calling the plaster because your ceiling just came down because you have a leaky roof.
Oh,
It doesn't make any sense.
I thought you were gonna, when you said if you got an issue, I thought you were gonna say
no. Don't call me.
It doesn't make any sense. You know, you keep blowing a fuse. What are you gonna do? Put a penny in the fuse box?
Yeah, you lick it first.
Yeah.
Those of you that ask, Stages of Life Medical Institute takes just about every insurance out there, Medicaid, all that.
Not so much.
But pretty much, they'll get you covered. Don't let it be a hindrance.
We take care of people. That's what we do.
You see what we're saying here? Yeah, don't let that, I don't know. Yeah, you want to get well or you want to die? Here, there's the option.
Well, I mean,
it's pretty close.
Okay, so I try to explain to folks, you have a $5,000 deductible.
Okay.
Now, let's understand, okay, you can either jerk yourself around, okay, and get this thing done, or expect that you're somewhere along that the year, you might have to pay a portion of that $5,000.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Yeah,
you selected your policy. So why don't we do this thing and do it cost effectively? So we charge 1/8 of what Quest charges, or LabCorp.
Right.
Okay. So the lab tests are not that expensive. They're very, very affordable. Ultrasound. You need an ultrasound in your gallbladder, your bladder, so on and so forth. It's $70.
Oh wow!
People think it's EKGs
so
at $25. I am so terribly sorry. People think it's so expensive that they can't stand it.
It's not.
Yeah, and then treating the problems. Most medical issues, are treatable for $10 to $20 a month.
That's great maintenance. Not $300, not $800.
No, it's
$20 to $30.
It's $20 to $30. You got blood pressure issues. We can treat it. We send you to Publix. We send you to wherever, and many of the medications are free.
And that's the thing. True. A lot of doctors don't even tell you that your basic stuff that's going to keep you alive, your blood pressure medicine, is $3 to $5, maybe $8 tops.
It worked 20 years ago. It worked 10 years ago, and it worked right up to the point where it went out of patent. Okay, so this stuff is not expensive.
Right?
Why do you think it is? Well, I can't afford it because my insurance doesn't cover it. No, it has nothing to do with that. If your insurance didn't cover the transmission on your car, you need the transmission on your car. It didn't cover the tires. It didn't cover your hair coloring. It did not cover your water heater. Guess what? You figure out how to make it work. Your health is worth a whole lot more, but people are so idiotic about the way they approach it.
Well, and you hear the ads too. We ask questions about everything, but when we're at the doctor's office, we don't ask questions.
Yeah, everything is fine all of a sudden. When I walk in the doctor's office, I got no pain.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No
It's the craziest thing.
Now, the reason I brought up your board certifications, and again, it's not because I want to brag on you, but isn't one of them pain management?
Yes. 3 of them are pain management.
3 of them. Now, tell me.
I've done this for a long time, 40 years.
Have you ever really prescribed opioids as a pain management solution?
It's necessary under many circumstances, but it's not the start. It's not the finish. Okay, so if you think you have a sinus headache, Okay, so how do you fix a sinus headache? Is it with an opiate? No. Okay, use some kind of a decongestant. Not necessarily an antihistamine. You can do it that way, but you relieve the pressure in the sinus. That's how you do it. So it might be a hot wash rag. So let's say that you're on the job and you're injured. Okay, you're working a nail gun. Now, they don't let me use power tools, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a nail gun. Okay, so that nail gun, fires and hits you in the leg. What's the best pain medication? Period. For dealing with that type of injury. It's called a pair of pliers. You remove the nail.
Yeah. So I knew he was going there. I knew this.
Good.
That's what it's all about. So you have to figure out what's wrong in order to fix it. If you have a splinter, an ingrown hair, you have all manners of issues. You let the pus out, it gets better.
Oh.
So pain medications does not necessarily mean opiates. And the way opiates are used in this country is a direct result of, let's just say, misguided, if not idiotic, lawmakers. Okay, because they could have fixed this thing so easily, but nobody wants to listen.
True.
Now, how do you control opiates in such a manner as to make it work? How do you prevent pill mills from occurring? Now you have the state licensure, which is what it is, and you have federal DEA licensure. You come out of internship and you get your license, state license, you get a 2 through 5 category license with the DEA. That means you can prescribe everything except illegals.
Wow.
All right? With an internship.
Wow.
Makes no sense. No. Now, many states have state DEAs, and you can control what people use based upon what you permit them to do. It's called a license. That's permission. Oh. So if somebody doesn't have the right training, you give them a state DEA license that does not include a Schedule 2s or 3s, which means they can't write opiates. Wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden the problem disappears. Or you give people opiate permission for 2s if they've got the right certifications and training. That doesn't mean that you're a dentist or a GP or even an orthopedic surgeon. Yeah, they're great to set bones and to operate on you and so on and so forth, but really, I have as much training doing what I do as they have in doing what they do. Okay? Isn't that odd how that works? Learning how to use medication. So opiates are helpful for certain things.
Right.
If you have a migraine, you think opiates are going to help. They'll take the edge off it, but they don't touch it. You have to use things that go after a particular nerve called the trigeminal nerve. And there's some really cool breakthroughs with that right now, which is going to be a subject perhaps of a different show.
Okay.
A shot a month taking care of migraine.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely a different show
this
for
is,
our
this
migraine
is
sufferers.
awesome.
Yes.
No, this is really, really cool. A shot a month and migraines go away essentially. So my wife, Tess, was having 20 to 25 knockdown, drag out, puke over the floor migraines. We hit her with one called Ajovi 2 months ago.
Hit her with a
again
hammer.
She had one migraine the past 6 weeks.
What's this called?
This one's called Ajovi, the one that I used on Tess. Okay. But there are 2 others. And so these injectables now, they prevent the migraine by hitting the transporter proteins, the gene, or the receptor. Okay. It's very interesting. And they go to work in a matter of a few days to a week or two. Maximal effect after 3 months. So it takes a monthly injection. And oddly enough, the companies are just about giving this stuff away for free.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Again, we're going to talk about that at another point, because what I want us to morph into, is, as I mentioned to start out, about opiate addictions. And this is what's happening lately with pain management. And people are trying desperately to get off of these opioids.
So we get them off. It's not hard.
And they're having a trouble with that. They're not sure what the options are. And a lot of people are now looking to medical marijuana, which in Florida is becoming a scam.
Yes, it's been a scam, actually.
Well, now medicinal marijuana itself is a scam. That's what you're telling me.
No, medicinal marijuana, THC, has been available to the public for 20 years.
Marinol.
Okay, Marinol. Okay, you can go. I can write you that prescription right now. It's a Schedule 3, not a Schedule 2 opiate, right? It's a Schedule 3. Right now, you can go right down there, and your insurance will cover it with a copay of like $20.
Yeah. Marinol's been around forever because HIV patients have been using it that I know of.
Cancer pain patients, people with intractable nausea.
All right, more on weed, morons. It's Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. Smoke up. We'll be right back.
Baby, let's keep it real here. Idle hands spend time at the genitals. you know how much God hates that?
We fought a whole war with England over that.
We did.
Yes, we did. You're right. Welcome back to Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. We're talking about marijuana, cannabis, actually. Marijuana is a slang term that has negative connotations, at least to the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Anyway, Melissa Foxx, we got Dr. David Klein from Stages of Life Medical Institute with us. He's about to drop some knowledge on us. Lizzie said, what is sitting over there? What?
Well, our Facebook Live Connection show is kind of giving us a little bit of feedback.
Okay.
So far, it seems like everybody who is replying is saying legalize it. So Linda Vall saying legalize it. Chris is saying legalize it.
And this is for recreational.
You
recreational.
You can't legalize it.
Okay, so my question for you, Dr. Dave, is if for me, if it was legal, I would smoke it.
Okay.
I hate drinking because I have some type of like allergic reaction to alcohol.
It's called stupid.
It's called making babies.
And her clothes go away. I don't get it.
I get naked and things happen.
It's one of my favorite side effects, actually. I rather like that
this
side
chunky
effect.
monkey does not get naked whenever they drink alcohol. But I in the past may or may have not partaken.
Okay.
But it seems like I would enjoy it more than.
Well, the problem with it, okay, and it's like much of anything else. One, it's unpredictable.
Okay.
Two, it's not federally legal, so you can decriminalize it in the state.
Right.
It doesn't make it legal. So you can walk in with whatever amount of this stuff that you think you're allowed to have, and just walk through Ocala National Forest and say Ranger Hal over there and ask him how much whether he'd like a hit on your weed.
I'm afraid you want to hear this bomb.
Okay, that's 5 to 7 years. Okay, it's just a real problem.
Right.
So on federal property, it's still illegal. You go to an airport. There are a lot of places where you're going to find that this is going to be an issue, even if it were decriminalized in the state of Florida. It's being legal and being decriminalized are two very different things.
Okay, so and I don't think people understand that. I don't think
they have to because it's going to cost them.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I don't think people like okay because it's legal in Colorado.
It's not legal.
But no,
again,
federally it's not. Statewide, it is.
Yeah.
But people don't understand the feds could swoop in and arrest you and take your.
They can take your grow from you. Okay, here's the deal: it's illegal to grow this stuff. It's illegal to produce it. It's illegal to possess it and illegal to distribute it. And if the feds want your butt, they will have your butt.
You got a good excuse.
Yeah. And there's no excuse.
You know, we just allow people now in Florida to have vegetable gardens.
Yeah.
And you know what they're afraid of? That we're going to grow weed.
Let them grow weed. It's fine. Okay, people just simply come in and take it anyway. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
Are you going to call the cops and tell them, hey, they stole my weed?
Now,
yes.
So recreational marijuana got shot down again because the bill is just too darn vague. That's what I'm hearing from lawmakers. They want to get it out there, but it's very confusing. Like you say, Dr. Dave, we need to understand what they're doing first with medical marijuana.
Okay, now medically, marijuana has been around forever.
Right.
Okay, you can go get a capsule of THC, 10 milligrams, which is considered one dose.
Wait, THC has medicinal values?
It kind of sort of does in certain limited circumstances. Okay, it helps with certain types of nausea under certain circumstances. But certainly not all circumstances, and certainly not as well as some of the other medications that are available. There are better medicines for nausea than THC.
Okay.
As it turns out. But it's one of those things that we have in our armamentarium. I can write a prescription right now for Marinol, and your insurance will pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
Correct.
However, wouldn't you know it, people don't want it.
Because it don't
Because
do nothing
it
for
doesn't
me.
give you a buzz.
Right.
Okay,
Even though it's THC.
That's exactly.
Keep up.
Right. It's the same stuff, but it doesn't give you a buzz.
Okay.
Either the route of delivery or the amount. This is a problem. Okay? Because if you really think for a minute that this is going to make you pain-free, marijuana is going to make me pain-free because some jerk in Ohio said it would, then I'll tell you what. How about let's give you the THC and see how pain-free it makes you. I'm a pain guy. Okay,
Yes,
I
you are.
opened the first office-based pain center in the United States. I have been doing this a long time.
Man knows his
Okay,
stuff.
yeah, and I've never seen anybody reduce their dosage of opiate as a result of taking marijuana. Now, I've seen them reduce their dosage by law. We do it all the time because people come in taking too much. If they don't get it, the pharmacies are going to stop filling it. Wouldn't you know it? Okay, so those are getting dialed back. But the fact of the matter is, being stoned doesn't help you with an opiate receptor. Okay?
Really?
No, not at all. There are receptors for cannabinoids. They have not been shown to actually have any particular physiological effect. They exist, so the argument is, well, if they're there, they must have a purpose. Why don't you find the purpose and then come back and let's discuss it? Until then, the only thing it causes is dysphoria.
I'm a fan of dysphoria.
Yeah. Dysphoria, datphoria, who knows?
But whatever, if it's good for me, I'm
when you're doing damage like this, you just don't really know what's going on. Now, with regards to THC, you're going to say, well, you can't pick it up in your urine anyway after 2 or 3 days, right? That's what you'll hear.
What? Wait, who says this?
I have people coming in all the time.
Trust me, if it clings the fat cells, baby.
21 days. I can
minimum.
Pick it up.
Yeah, but that's only if you don't smoke a lot. Like if you were somebody who smokes all the time, it's going to take you way longer.
3 weeks. Okay,
you got to have no body fat too. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's where it holds all of it.
Yeah, I have a machine in my office. It looks like one of those cappuccino makers, the really big ones.
That's not a cappuccino maker. I was wondering what came out. It was kind of fatty, but it was tasty.
Yeah, it's called a mass spectrometer. So I got my own pet mass spectrometer in my office. We can pick up dirty urine in 3 weeks.
Yes, dirty urine. That's
bad
how
stuff.
I like
Well,
it.
what happens is this, and this is kind of a bad thing. You can lose your job over it.
True.
You can be prevented from ever having a security clearance, which, by the way, is something you need for certain high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can lose your retirement and so on and so forth. And more so, and this is my favorite one, being an employer, I'm a single doc, one guy. Okay, I've got 20 full-time employees working for me.
Damn.
Now, if I were a bigger jerk and I wanted to get rid of somebody, I would implement a policy that says if your urine's dirty, you get fired for a cause, which means you don't get unemployment, you don't get any of your stuff, you pack and leave. So if an employer wanted to create a circumstance to cause a separation without particular cause because they don't like your eye color or whatever they don't like about you.
Just run a random pee test.
Just do a random pee test.
Gosh.
Okay, and you're gone, and there's nothing anybody can do about it because that would be the corporate policy. And they don't have to do it for everybody. They can do it because we think your eyes are bloodshot, or we think you're acting funny, or we think you're running late, and that implies to us that.
Holy crap! I would check yes to all of those, and I don't even smoke weed.
No, you got it. So there are all kinds of implications for this stuff. Now, am I a goody two shoes? The answer is no. Okay, but I think it's a huge error in judgment. Now we have a problem in this country right now. Okay, and the
just one.
It can be called a lot of different things. You can be an old codger and go, "That's those damn millennials," and you'd be largely correct.
Correct.
Okay, but we have
the baby boomers.
They could be correct there too.
Yes.
I'm one of them. So what happens is that marijuana is notorious, okay, for gutting you of your initiative, your inertia, your willingness to work, pitch in, or do anything. The old Cheech and Chong albums were funny because of the truth involved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it makes you not want to do something?
Yeah, they call them stoners.
Didn't I
okay,
come into this?
you don't
Doesn't
know
whiskey
stoners?
do the same thing?
Sure
Well, whiskey has will eliminate within a couple hours. So you go ahead and you get. I'm not a big proponent of getting trashed on alcohol either.
Right.
Okay, and the predictable damage to the liver, kidneys, and everything else. Your marriage, everybody else's marriage. It doesn't even matter. Substance abuse is substance abuse. But adding another possibility here doesn't make any sense.
True.
And so, we have a lot of issues in this country with people willing to work. Here in Florida, it's famous for not being able to get people to do anything. The trades, the professions.
It's too hot.
Yeah, it's maybe a little too hot, but the long and short of it is that it trashes a lot of people's focus and so on and so forth. Now, well, if I smoke, it makes me more focused. I call nonsense. You want to get stoned, go get stoned. Pay your taxes, do what you need to do. That's the only good thing coming about decriminalizing it, is the fact that you'll be paying taxes on this stuff. But what does that mean? You're going to go buy a bag of weed. You're going to pay a couple $100 for this stuff, but you're not feeding your family. You're not able to pay for your car properly, your insurance, or your other stuff. That money has to come from someplace to go pay for that weed. Congratulations.
Wow. Dr. Dave lays it out, the hard words. What? All right, when we come back, we'll discuss this 10% THC, I don't even understand, this smokable weed. We'll be right back. It's Connection Show, connectionshow.com on News Radio 93.1 WFLA.
67.
You're listening to Connection.
Get ready, I think I hear something.
Man, I wish I was deaf. Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?
Certainly not for operating an illegal pirate radio station.
Have the best weed in the world or what? Let's give them the real weed song. Let's go.
The ludicrous to bring us back from the break here on Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. Yeah, Amsterdam, the best weed. They don't have a lot of crime there. They don't even drive their cars on Sundays, but
so it's a socialist country.
It's a socialist country, and nobody works, and they all sit around on their butts smoking weed.
Let's go to let's take a. And I did in fact take a flight out to Denver.
Did you?
So yeah, because they asked me to give these lectures on medical marijuana. What's
That's Dr. Dave Klein, by the way, from Stages of Life Medical Institute. So what happened in Denver when they asked for your opinion?
Well, I decided to see the whole deal. So we called a guy out there that we know, Bubba Kush. Okay, so we asked Bubba.
That's his real name.
No, it's not his real name. No, he's actually Floridian.
That's his product.
Is he really?
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Yeah, he got his degree in chemistry.
Yeah,
good dude. Okay, so gave him a call and said, "Hey, look, Matt, I won't say his name. And can you show us around? Show us what the industry's all about?" And he wanted to meet with us because he thought he was going to get a cash infusion to grow whatever it is his business was, if you pardon the metaphor. And so we figured, okay, fine. So we went out there for the weekend. I took my whole entourage.
Oh,
okay.
Boy.
Oh, this was interesting. And we spent the weekend going from the grow areas, okay, these little places around and about that were in warehouses and so on and so forth, where they grew the marijuana, to the places where they produce, they would manufacture into things like edibles and so on and so forth, to the distribution points.
Cool.
So we got to meet with everybody. We figured out how they're actually getting paid for it, because we were under the impression that you couldn't use credit cards to pay for it because that gets the feds involved in an illegal transaction.
And initially there were those issues.
Yeah,
and they didn't want to bring the money to the bank because the banks were federal, FDIC, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the joke is we went out there and bought the stuff just to see if it could happen. So we used 3 different credit cards, 3 different people, and bought a small amount of this, that, or the other. And there was no trouble at all with it. So it was basically one big lie. Well, you can't do that. Well, they're doing it all the time.
Oh, boy.
And then to make matters worse, okay, and this just cracked me up because they would put these ATMs in the distribution centers. They're little retail outlets
with the eye watching the.
Well, there may be that, but what I was concerned with is the fact they charge like 8 to 10% to take your credit card and turn it into a cash.
Yeah.
So they're making an extra 8 to 10% for something they didn't even need to do it, because if they handed them a credit card, they would have done it for that much less. So I'm looking around thinking, this is a carnival of dummy. You know what I mean? It's like stupid led by stupid led by stupid, and then you're talking to the clerk who's obviously stoned. And they're talking about, you use this one here because they use this during the day and it doesn't blah, 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 blah. And this one over here will make you sleep better. And I'm thinking, what a crock of nonsense.
Well, what concerns me is whenever you go into the CBD oil places or the sell cake. Yeah. Now, we asked the guy, he had, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a number out. He had like 1,000 milligram bottle.
Yeah.
So I asked him, so whenever you get the dropper, how much is in the dropper? I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know, man.
How much of the CBD concentrate or whatever you would call that is in the dropper? Like, how am I getting 5 milligrams? Am I getting 10 milligrams? I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
There's no training necessary to do those jobs.
Obviously.
Okay, no background check, I've got to tell you.
Huh?
Okay, so except there are people carrying the guns in there, which is obviously a sign of safety. So when I was there watching these people wandering around with weapons clearly visible, it felt like I was in Texas. Okay, where I feel safer in Texas than I did in Colorado. It must not be much of a problem having to do with crime now, don't you think?
No, I don't know.
No, we're gonna pay a security guard who probably by nature is not going to be stoned.
Hopefully
either.
he's not stoned.
Yeah. All right. How do they get paid? Well, they get paid in weed often. Why? Because you don't have to pay FICA or Social Security on it. It's
all the weed that you can have.
What?
Yeah.
That's great.
Isn't that interesting?
Linda Ball is watching us on our Facebook live feed at Connection Show.
Linda, it's okay if you do it.
She said, "Yeah, you've got our permission."
You have my permission.
Earth Fair Natural Grocery, she said, has CBD oils. Bed Bath & Beyond is carrying CBD aromatherapy oils. Hemp honey is now being seen.
Because they make a lot of money on it. Heck, if I had a conscience, okay, which I have, okay, I wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. The long and short of it is that I can't bring myself to bring that into my office. They're bringing these products in that contain CBD that are ostensibly assayed, but there's no particular law that says they have to be. They can make claims that they want to, but the fact of the matter is they're expensive. You can't take it back because it didn't work.
Oh.
Think about that for a second. I'll take this shirt back because it doesn't fit. You got a shot at that one. Okay, well, your shoes, they don't, these
I'm pretty sure I've called my weed guy and gone, I think that was a little bad next time.
Yeah, this
you make it up for me? And he went, yeah.
Yeah, this didn't give me the buzz I was thinking. Yeah, so cannabidiol, CBD, okay, what is they don't produce these things in such a manner to actually make a difference in the effect. It's nonsense. And many of these things are multi-level marketing. Those are my favorite ones. The MLMs, man. So, Susie over here, she can hook you up. It's a multi-level. It's like Amway for weed.
I got a guy down around the corner who's got the CBD hemp oil. Hemp, by the way.
Yeah.
Something totally different than cannabis, my friend.
Oh, none of this contains any THC, but it mellows me out. Yeah, right.
No. Okay. So we're going to talk in the next segment because we're almost out of this one about the THC and the smokable marijuana. I just real quick, you said something, a little nugget that has been stuck in my head forever. Yeah, I used the word nugget.
I know. There we go.
You said that when we smoke the weed, when we take it in intake that way, that it even if it was a 10. I'm not sure what is this 10?
10% is 100 milligrams per gram.
Okay. But we don't get that 10% when it's burned.
Correct.
It much less.
Well, you're burning it for starters.
Right.
So what happens is that much of it is consumed in the oxidation process. Some of it is boiled off and you inhale it. Okay, so when you're looking at these electronic devices that heat it to a point where the oil boils off, you're going to get a bigger hit.
Right.
But I was advised by Bubba Kush, okay? He said, well, if you're were you to do this stuff, okay, were you to consider it, be very, very careful with the edibles because that's where people are getting into trouble.
Yeah, because your body's not digesting it right away.
100% of what you take orally goes in. So if you're taking 100 milligram per gram, that's 5 quote-unquote doses. That's enough to make anybody see bizarre things for a long time.
Wow. I will test this out for you and let you know.
Yeah. It's very interesting. So, so the edibles are really what concern me the most.
Right.
Okay, because that's where the damage is going to occur. When you smoke this stuff, it's bad enough.
Right.
Okay, because not only are you taking in basically a toxic chemical. People want to stay. I eat very organically and natural, and you're going to go out and smoke a poison for God's sake. It makes no sense. To at least be true to yourself. If you want to go get polluted, that's the word we used to use back in the day. Polluted. Yeah, but this is a good pollutant. No, it's not. Okay,
No.
it's a poison. It's making your brain not work right. Okay, now you might need it for not to work right. It's not going to help you not hear those voices. It's not going to help you focus. It's certainly not going to help you
make
better.
You paranoid.
It can make you pretty darn paranoid.
It can make you depressed.
Yeah,
it
but
can give you anxiety.
But what it does do is it's a disinhibitory substance, just like alcohol.
You can get laid.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you
really?
get
if there's
you
anything,
can get off the couch.
If there's anything good, for as long as you can remain capable of doing it, which, by the way, also goes away with time. So with men, it's kind of like they lose their interest in getting it.
Oh, really?
That's good for guys like me, okay? Because somebody has to pick up the slack.
Oh, stop.
Okay,
there we go.
That's right.
I mean, so really, but that's an issue. So a lot of guys that are stoners, they don't find themselves, let's say, performing in the bedroom as they once did. And that's just the way that it goes. Well, it must be my testosterone, man. No, it's the cannabinoids.
Okay.
Right? And that might be good. Okay, really, but I don't see it that way. I see that when you start changing people's biochemistry, it can't end well.
Ooh.
See, this is what you do when your man's got you go Shiva. That's what happens. I'm just gonna say thank you, Cyndi Lauper. More about cannabis. We are your Cannabis Connection show on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. Shebop.
Connections is Relationship Radio.
Relax.
I'm going to move the energy from your thighs to your buttocks now. Now, which one of you doubts my powers?
You, Lieutenant Weinberg.
Are you finished? Are you finished? No, I'm just getting warmed up. Are you finished? Are you finished? Don't make me smoke it, y'all. I'm just getting warmed up. Don't make me don't provoke it, y'all.
I love it. Smoking the weed. Why, people, why? Welcome back to Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA, Thursday nights, 9 o'clock on your iHeart Radio. And I'm Melissa Foxx. Lizzie said what? She's over there rolling a big fat blunt. And Dr. Dave is trying to figure out where we get the crackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we're just trying to figure out why Florida lawmakers are so confused. And it's not that they're so confused as that maybe they have not all the knowledge and information that they should. We know weed, marijuana, cannabis, on a federal level is illegal except for the stuff that they've set aside for seizures. I think there's like 3 applications the FDA has said it's okay. 3.
The FDA isn't who determines whether it's legal or not.
That's right. But the Federal Drug Administration said, it does have a purpose.
It's the DEA that determines whether or not it's going to put you in jail or not. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the joke is, I was a Fed at one point.
No,
okay?
you've done everything, man.
No, I lasted 10 months. I couldn't stand it anymore. Okay, yeah. But what happens is they don't agree. So you can have somebody at the FDA saying one thing. You can have somebody at the DEA saying something entirely else. And Homeland Security, which used to be called by something very, very different, may be entirely at odds with it. They have to agree in order for things to work.
Exactly. And nobody's going to agree ever.
No
they
kidding.
Don't have the information that they want.
There's that, and they are a disagreeable lot to begin with.
But they can't see how much revenue that they're...
Well, it's not all about revenue.
I don't understand
where's the money coming from? Let's think this one through for a second. Okay, so if you have $1,000 to your name. Okay.
That would be
and
nice.
You're going to spend it. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're going to spend it on rent. You might spend it on gasoline. You might spend it on your kids' education or things that they need. You might spend it on clothing. You might spend it on clothing.
Booze.
Or you can spend it on drugs.
Yes.
Okay.
We go for
drugs. Thank you, Dr. Dave, for giving us permission.
Therein lies the problem, isn't it? It's the old argument called guns or butter. What do you spend on? So while it's true the feds are going to take a big hunk of it, they're going to get a big hunk of it anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay, if you buy gasoline, they take a hunk of it. If you buy groceries, they're going to be taking it either as income tax, sales tax, or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. Every time that money exchanges hands, the feds get the bigger part of it.
So what you're saying is we should stop spending money now on everything and hold our money hostage until they legalize it.
You could do that.
See, there's a friend. Yeah. My cousin Lori just sent me this Canaway, and right at the bottom, I was looking at how can Canaway help you. And right at the bottom, it says Independent Brand Ambassador. Sweetie, it's a multi-level marketing scam again.
Yeah, which means that the 5 people in the levels above you, the diamond, the silver, the gold, and whatever they want to call them, like they do in so many of these things, are all taking a slice of your action. And it works as long as they're greater fools. So when you go out there, and you convince somebody else to sell your stuff, you get a piece of theirs.
Yay.
That's what it's all about. Or you can go to the store and buy it.
Now, that's what I was going to say. I know you're hooked up with the gal down here right next to Longwood, next to my Flanagan's Bar. The little health...
I'm hooked up with her?
Yeah, the health store down there.
I'm not hooked up with any... no, actually, she's a patient of mine.
Yeah, but she speaks highly of you, and she also sells cannabis.
But I never touched the lady. No, she's a patient. I never do that. I wasn't sure what you meant.
No, I meant that you recommend her, she recommends you. I think she sells some of your products.
She sells some of our products in there. Mm-hmm. But I won't be doing cannabinoids, okay, because I just don't think there's any real place for it. She does believe it.
Yes,
that's fine.
And she firmly believes it. And again, we're not saying that if it works for you, it works for you. If your mindset or your body or whatever is receptive, and like a friend of mine, Brian, he's had 7 spinal surgeries. He was addicted to the opiates.
Yeah,
he now uses CBD vape oil and feels that helps to relieve his pain.
Okay.
More power to you.
Well, what about my wife? 6 neck surgeries, she broke her back, or broke her neck, okay? So she was having exquisite pain. She couldn't function until we treated the osteoporosis, which was actually causing the persistent pain. So you harden the bone, the neck pain gets better. She looks pretty good, doesn't she? You wouldn't know she had 6 neck surgeries.
No, you really wouldn't.
No.
And see, now this brings us back to what we spoke about in the very first segment. Of those 5 board certifications that Dr. David Klein has, 3 of them are in pain management, but his main focus in life, at least right now from what we understand, is not old people UTI infections.
Correct.
But that's part of it.
That is part of it.
But rather curing, finding what the actual problem is and dealing with that. Symptoms, you can treat symptoms all day, but if you don't know what's at the root of it, you're really not doing yourself a service.
You don't have a chance. Okay, so one of my favorite things with urinary tract infections, okay, one of the presenting symptoms, okay, for urinary tract infections in the elderly,
is it a fever?
Is dementia.
Dementia, okay.
No fever. No. The organs of the aged cry out not in pain, according to Hippocrates, and it's correct. So they'll end up with UTIs, asymptomatic, because they're not, just like your dogs. You have several dogs. If they develop a urinary tract infection, it's late in the game that they'll tell you there's a problem down there.
Right.
Okay. With the elderly, it's the same thing. So we do urinalysis on everybody that walks through the front door over a certain age. And many other people as well. Yeah, here you go, pee in the cup. And we're picking up urinary tract infections about 1/4 to 1/3 of all females that come through.
Oh, wow.
Okay, with men it's a little bit less, but they don't know that they have a urinary tract infection. Okay, and that's the way that it works. So that you come in, you have a UTI and back pain. That's one of my other favorite ones. Or over that, somebody comes in with gout and back pain. So you can give these folks opiates until the cows come home, and it's not going to make any difference until you bring down the uric acid level. So there are many, many causes of pain that have nothing to do with what some clown diagnoses on an MRI or X-ray.
Right.
Those are not necessarily causal. Okay, you can if you have a broken bone, you'll pick it up, but if you have a bulging disc, I can promise you it's not causing pain. Most people with herniated lumbar discs are asymptomatic. God help you if you're one of those people and you twist the wrong way and pull a muscle. Then you get your MRI and they operate on you. 1/3 get worse after surgery, 1/3 stay the same, and 1/3 see some relief. So you got to be very, very well aware.
Those are crap odds.
Those are crappy odds. Okay? So just because some clown with a stethoscope or not tells you that you've got a problem, you'd better do your own homework. And be very, very careful to understand that it's not, it's just not all that precise. I have people coming in all the time. I had a guy, I love this guy. He's a fantastic fellow with a problem in his hand. And it turns out he's seen all kinds of crazy people. He was a gardener, landscaper, punctured his finger, ended up developing a particular fungus called Sporothrix shankii, which I picked up, treated him, he does fine. Okay, he's been having this problem for years. It was a simple matter. You look at it, you see it once, you'll remember it. You see it twice, it's like an old friend.
Is that the one with the grapefruit seed juice or something?
No, you can use
for the
that.
Fungus?
You can. For this one, I use that plus a couple stronger things. So then he comes back in a few weeks, maybe longer. It's hard to tell because I can't remember time. And his other index finger was all swollen.
Oh, dear.
Okay, asked him what he did. Couldn't remember doing anything. He thinks he has rheumatoid arthritis, wants me to check him for rheumatoid. He doesn't have it, of course. But I look at him and I'm thinking, and I look at my finger. My finger's swollen exactly the same way. I tore a ligament, between the carpal and then the first phalanx, index finger, and it hurts like the dickens. So I looked at him, I said, I think what you did here was you have a partial tear of the radiocollateral ligament. Well, I want an MRI, blah, 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 blah. I said, the MRI is not going to tell you anything.
Right.
Okay, so we're still going to treat it the same way. He went ahead and he went to an orthopedic surgeon who told him he thought he had infection in the other hand, which is impossible. It's not going to move from hand to hand. It doesn't work that way. Okay? And so that guy was a clown, but got the MRI anyway and misread it. The guy had an MCL, or he had a ligament tear.
So it was a tear.
It was a tear. So we got a good laugh out of this thing, and he bought a better splint than I had, which really ticked me off.
Oh boy!
And I asked him, I said, "Where did you get this splint?" And he said, "Well, Amazon." I'm thinking,
no,
I made mine out of popsicle sticks.
Okay, so
the doc doesn't.
Getting at the end of this whole thing here. Bottom line, Dr. Dave says that CBD oil and THC really don't have medicinal value.
No medicinal value whatsoever. It's used as a ploy, but if you want to get stoned, at least understand yourself, and that's what you want to do, then do it.
Okay, so recreational weed, it's not going to happen for now. Medical marijuana, good luck with that. Hey, Dave, thank you so much, man. Lizzie,
my pleasure.
All right.
Good night.
We're out. Thanks for listening. Love you. Mean it.
Laughing time is over.
There you have it, boys. Case closed.
You've been listening to Connections. Find tonight's show and replays of our past shows on ConnectionsShow.com.